Matrices. Practice questions. Let's take a look at some of the matrices questions that you might come across and how you should approach them. So we're going to be looking for the shape that can fill the gap in the matrix. The shapes in the matrix will be connected by patterns. These patterns can run through the matrix in lots of different directions. Always look for patterns running across rows, down columns, diagonally, and in a clockwise direction. The patterns in the matrix might be based upon number, colour, shape, symmetry, or position. So let's jump straight into looking at some questions. We need to work out which of these options should fill the gap in the matrix. What can we notice about the shapes in the matrix? All of the boxes contain a cloud and either a bird, a plane, or a superhero. We can immediately rule out option E. There is no cloud behind the superhero. Did you notice what we just said? In E, there is no cloud behind the superhero. This leads us to something else that we can notice about the shapes in this matrix. The cloud is always at the back. It is always behind the flying object. We can rule out option A because it shows the cloud in front of the superhero. There's something else that we can notice about the positions of the flying objects and the clouds. We can see that the flying objects in each row are positioned in the same way. In the top row they are above the clouds, and in the bottom row they are below the clouds. In the middle row, where the gap is, the flying objects are in line with the clouds. This doesn't help us to rule out any of the answers, but we have found another pattern. Let's look at the columns. Can you see what each column of the matrix has in common? Each column only contains one type of flying objects. As the gap is in the third column, we are looking for a box that contains a superhero. We can use this to rule out option C. A plane wouldn't fit in this column. Finally, we need to look at the direction of the flying objects, as this is the only difference between B and D. Every flying object in the matrix is facing towards the right hand of the screen, so we can rule out D. The superhero in D is flying in the wrong direction. The correct answer is B. The superhero is flying towards the right, in line with the clouds, just like the other objects in the row. It completes the matrix. Let's have a go at another question. Which of the options could complete this gap? Let's start by looking at the type of shapes in each box. In the top left box we have a triangle and a diamond. In the next box we have a diamond and a circle. Finally, in this box we have a circle and a pentagon. Can you spot the pattern? Moving in a clockwise direction around the matrix, each big shape becomes the small shape in the next box. As the big shape in the box before our gap is a pentagon, we can rule out A, B and C. We know that in our answer, the small shape needs to be a pentagon. To work out what the big shape should be, we need to work backwards. Remember the pattern. Each big shape becomes the small shape in the next box. So our big shape must be the same as the small shape in the top left box, a right-angled triangle. The correct answer is D. Remember to look out for the different ways that patterns can move through a matrix. Make sure you check for patterns across rows, down columns, diagonally, and for ones that run clockwise around a matrix. There might be more than one pattern in the matrix that you need to find. Every time you spot a pattern, use it to rule out an option. You should rule out options one by one and keep going until you are left with one option, the correct answer.